What did you like about the game, and what did you not like about the game?
I mean, I thought their fight was better. I thought we were a little bit more physical up front on offense and were able to run the ball successfully. This doesn't almost sound like a broken record, but you can't give up big plays in the passing game like we have. I mean, you give up 4 long touchdowns. 2 of them, if we just make a tackle, we'll get the ball down and be able to play defense again and have a chance to stop them. And then the 2 long ones, the post by Michael Levette played bad leverage. We should have had a free safety helping him out. The free safety was robbing for whatever reason. That we got to coach him better. And then the by 1 cover 2, you got a single receiver on a cover 2 side where you got a deep half safety. He gets run by and then he falls down. I mean, that can't happen. And so, I mean, if we're going to give up, I mean, it's probably, I haven't added up in the math in my head, but those 4 plays were probably 250 yards total. I mean, you're going to lose every time you do that. And so we've got to coach them better because they're the ones that we have. They got talent. They're talented enough. I want them to compete harder. I mean, it's got to bother them, and they've got to have the mental capacity to get them on the ground, and we'll have a chance. I mean, they ran to the ball hard a couple times, and we caused a couple turnovers because they're running to the ball that kept us in the game. But we can't give up big plays like that and have a chance to win. You score 33 points and you have 500 yards offense, you should win the game. And they had 39 points and 500 yards offense, and they did win the game.
Tavares concussed, or is he just took a stinger or something?
No, they think it's a concussion. So if it is, that means he probably won't be able to play next week. So they'll evaluate him now after the game to make sure. But I was told that it's a concussion, so we'll be with Trey Hall. And they had a great competition until we named Tavares the starter. Trey Hall came in, he threw a couple good passes, got us in field goal range. He probably missed a couple passes, but with a week of practice, he'll get all the reps with the ones. He should be okay and give us a chance. I mean, it's going to come down to the same thing. If we can make plays in the secondary, we'll have a chance to win next week. If we can't, we'll get embarrassed.
Coach, I got something for you.
Go ahead, Will.
I know you touched on this with the broken record thing, but the big plays in the secondary, is this a thing where you change personnel, or do you just change something in the scheme, or what do you do going into next week?
I mean, unfortunately, there's no free agency. This ain't the NFL, so you can't go out and find new guys, okay? These are the guys we inherited, and some of them have enough talent. We got to coach them better. They got to compete harder. I thought a couple big plays, the second touchdown, the play before that was a 3rd down that we're lined up way too soft, and they complete the ball real easy and get a 1st down. The next play, we send a corner blitz, and so they're coached to, when we send this certain stunt, those other guys on the other side where the ball's going to come to, if the quarterback throws it, they've got to be sitting on their routes and be tight in coverage. And the young man was 10, 11 yards off the receiver, so he's not even close enough to make a tackle. Well, that's a combination of coaching, and he's got to compete more. He looked tired. Well, if they're tired, that means we're not mentally tough enough. We're giving in, and that's ridiculous. But they're in pretty good shape, so we've got to change that. We got to change that mentality. We'll get Dante Martin back next week. He'll be done with his academic suspension. He started, I think, 8-9 games last year. So that should help. But Michael Levette's plenty talented enough. We got to get him mentally tougher, obviously. And all this stuff that you're hearing and that you guys are going to write in the paper is not stuff that he hadn't heard. So I'm not worried about hurting his feelings, because part of the problem is we got way too many guys that have feelings that are way too soft. You should have your feelings hurt when you give up long touchdowns and they have 500 yards passing. It should hurt in your gut. And it doesn't matter if they write bad things about you in the newspaper, because it's when they stop writing them that they don't care. Well, they better care, or we're going to get embarrassed week after week giving up touchdown plays like that. And so obviously we've got to coach them better, because those are the guys that we have. And they've got enough talent. If we're asking them to do something that they're incapable of doing, well, that's on us. I don't believe we are. Now we've got to give, obviously, it's not all the DB's fault. When you don't get enough pressure to the quarterback, we only had 1 sack. That ain't good enough. When we blitz, we got to get pressure and keep him contained. We knew the quarterback was going to have a issue with his legs because he's a good athlete and he's fast. We didn't keep him in the pocket good enough. And on a couple of those scrambles, he completed the ball. We've got to be a lot more disciplined so we don't jump off sides and give him free plays. But when we give him a free play, we got to compete for the ball. We can't just let him catch it and tackle him and then they tack on another 5 yards. So we've got to change that mentality side of it. Now, the DBs have it harder because I'm an old DB coach for the last 20-plus years, so it drives me absolutely nuts when we give up long plays, and that's been a thing around here. The secondary has given up a bunch of plays around here, so they're beat up mentally. Well, you know what? You can make all the excuses you want and feel sorry for yourself, but nobody out there feels sorry for us. Dang, Hawaii doesn't feel sorry for us. Now, I promise you, Nevada next week ain't going to feel sorry for them. So they better get their minds right and understand that they have enough talent. They need to compete harder, and they need to play better and make plays. Now, if we get pressure up front, it'll help. But being a DB guy, I mean, they're gonna get tired of me hearing it. But if we're gonna give up 500 yards passing every night, and we're gonna give up big touchdown plays off of chunk plays where we don't tackle or we get run by, then we're gonna keep getting beat. And this is a game that we had plenty of chances to win. Obviously, we don't know how to win, so we need to fix that and change it.
Don't you have to be pretty pleased with the running backs? It seems like your running backs are breaking tackles more.
I thought Nate Jones and Bobby Cole ran really, really hard. I thought Day and Bryson did a nice job in the passing game. I thought they did a really good job in pass protection. I thought Nate Jones added a spark. He's got some speed and some juice in there that he can. I mean, he got that one outside and went down the sideline. They had a hard time tackling Bobby Cole and Nate Jones inside between the tackles. So that's positive. I mean, if you can net rush for 280 yards and we rushed for 293 and then we get sacked for 14, couple sacks for 14 yards, 3 yards rushing, you should be able to win the game. You have 33 points and 300 yards rushing. Shame on the defense. And myself and Coach Long, we got to get it fixed.
Coach, what do you think is as far as getting those guys to change their mindset a little bit? Because just you talking about being a little soft, covering the one play you brought up was being a little soft on that play. How do you have to just keep banging it in their head because, or do you do it by changing them out, let somebody else play in their spot?
We did after that, probably one play too late. We took out Michael Levette because when he came over, he was breathing like he was exhausted, which there's with all the TV timeouts and all the game stoppages, there's no way you get that tired. So either we're not working them hard enough in practice or we've got to get over that. We've got to be better in situational awareness, knowing the down and distance and the call so that they know, if they know what stunt's coming because they listen to the call and they all see the call because we don't huddle, obviously. If they know what stunt's coming, so that's partly coaching, so we coach them better so that the guys on the outside are aware of what the guys on the inside are doing. Then we'll play the techniques better. That certain one, they're supposed to sit and squat and catch the route. If we catch the route, they can't complete it, and we won't have a hard time. If they do complete it, we'll be able to tackle them right there instead of having to try and make a tackle in space where we don't even come close. So partly coaching. We got to coach them better so they understand the situation and they understand what's going on. And two, I keep hearing how fragile our DBs are because they've been beaten year after year for the last few years and they've been terrible. Well, you know what? If you're a competitor, that should bug you so much that you work your tail off to solve the problem. And so I'm not going to give in on them. So they're either gonna convert to believing in it and doing it right, or they can quit. And like I said earlier, it's not nothing that they haven't heard. They're going to do it our way, and we're going to coach them right, and they're going to compete and play, or they can go find somewhere else to play. And if they answer the call, we'll have a chance in the next 6 games. I mean, we had a chance to win tonight, and we made too many mistakes to blow it. We'll have a chance the next 6 if they'll come to practice and do the things right. We keep running the ball like we did. I think Carson Strong's a really good quarterback. Might be the best quarterback in our league. Hasn't thrown an interception in 282 straight throws. So we're going to have our work cut out for us. But we'll give them a plan. And if they continue to play hard, I don't think that was the issue. They played hard. We got to compete better. And we got to make plays. We got to tackle in the secondary. We can't give up big plays.
You guys going back to Vegas, right?
We are. We should land in Vegas about 6:30 in the morning. We have to go over to the Sandboy Stadium and do our COVID test. We'll stretch them. And then the coaches will go right into the meeting room so that we can start getting ready for Nevada. Since they already played, we have all their film. The GAs can break it down right now on the plane. We'll put a plan together for them. They still have to have a day off. I haven't decided if that's going to be tomorrow or if we're going to practice on Monday or not. We'll probably give them Monday off, and then we'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in Vegas, and then we'll host the game at Sandboy Stadium. We've already made the conference aware. They've already worked out a deal, and so we'll stay there for the next 6 days, and then we'll play next Saturday. And if they practice hard enough and they compete better, we'll have a chance. If they don't, we'll get embarrassed. It's that simple. Yes, Will?
Hey, Danny, obviously we saw improvements from last week to this week. And how much do you think the full contact practices helped?
I thought it helped significantly for the offensive line. They obviously run block better. I thought the running backs did a good job. They're probably a little bit better getting, after having a game under their belt, they were able to break a few tackles, probably a little bit helps doing that in practice. Obviously, it didn't help in the secondary because we have the same issue that we had last week, even though we had a couple new guys. But I think it was beneficial that we were able to practice that way. We'll be able to practice that way again this week. We got our COVID test before we got to Hawaii. We had all negative again. We'll have a COVID test tomorrow. Hopefully that'll come back all negative. It's been the same bubble situation here. So unless something transpired on the field, which you should have two teams competing with everybody having a negative COVID test, we'll hopefully have the same result tomorrow so that we have everybody back. We can practice. We'll get a couple more guys back. Dante Martin being the one with the most experience. Trying to think if there's anybody else. And then we'll have to see what's going on with Tavaka, whether or not he'll be able to play. I would guess if it is a concussion, he won't be able to play next week with the protocol. So we got a lot of work cut out. We got a lot of work in front of us.
Anything else? Brandon Shook with a foot.
He was cleared to play tonight. I didn't want him to play if we didn't need him. I thought Deion Hunter was doing a really good job. I thought Rico Hanna, who came back from having a bad knee about 3-4 weeks ago, I thought he did some really good things. He had a really big stop on the 4th down. Brandon was available, but I think another week to be able to play, he'll be 100% next week, and then him and Deion can share reps. And I thought they did a nice job, and it'll give us a little bit more depth at linebacker. What's up, Will?
Coach, speaking as someone who's watched this program the last few years, last week and this week are games that this program gets blown out in. And so you don't strike me as a guy who's going to sugarcoat a lot, but is there positives that you see in the team's effort? Because from my vantage point, it looks like the team is actually getting quite a bit better. But what positives do you take away, or do you just walk into the locker room and kind of go scorched earth with these guys and tell them, you guys are terrible, or you do?
Positives, they try hard. If you're happy with trying hard, that's a loser's mentality. If you want to convince yourself that moral victory is okay, then you don't belong in our program, and shame on you. We got a lot of text messages. I got a lot of text messages last week about, Coach, we're so proud of you. They played harder. They tried. I can see a difference. Don't feel sorry for me. That bugs me. Because you know what? When you get your tail whooped, we gave up 39 points on defense. That's getting your tail whooped. No, I don't think that's positive. I think they need to compete better. Their improvement from the previous games? Maybe. They had a chance to win both games. We have a chance in the third quarter to win last week, and then we don't get we don't get a stop on defense. We give up a big play, much like tonight, and we get a penalty on a kickoff that leads to a field goal, and then we lose track. Tonight we give up 2 big plays on defense. We have an opportunity to take lead on offense. We miss a field goal. We have a chance to build a bigger lead. And that was a great catch on the 2-point play by them. But losing ain't okay. And my message to them in the locker room was, when you lose a game that you should win, and in my opinion, I thought we should have won, then it should hurt in your gut, because it ain't okay. It ain't okay to be bad. It ain't okay to lose. It ain't okay to get beat for 4 touchdown passes. It ain't okay. And if they think it's okay, or they think that somebody's going to pat them on the back because they tried harder, then we're going to be a terrible football team for a long, long time. I won't ever sugarcoat anything with them. And if they don't like being told the truth, then they can quit. And we'll get the right guys in there. Now, I'm not saying any of them don't like it. I'm not saying any of them are ready to quit. But they're going to learn how to compete, and they're going to learn how to do it our way, or they can. And we'll be better for it. But we've got a lot of improvement to do. We're going to be a championship program. We're going to be really dominant on defense one day, and I don't understand why they don't want it to be now, but obviously we haven't done enough things to make it that way. So we got to keep at them. We got to coach them better, and we'll have a chance.